Yeah. It's really what we were aiming to do is to show this whole concept that it's not about being perfect, it's about learning. And learning, first of all, must be fun. If we get under too much stress, then we cannot learn anymore. And it's like in a stressy situation, our body shuts down to a way that we can only work with what we automatically already do. We become very technical. And that's then in a test, you write a test and you get under stress, and then you write your transition to halt the way you've learned it. But you could hear how much Felicitas was thinking, now I need this, now I need this, now I need that. She always communicated with the horse. She always had her input from the horse open. When we're under stress, we close that. So we only pour out, I want that, I want that, I want that. And we're not listening that the horse says, I need it a bit more here, I need help here, I need help here. And so it's important, especially in a clinic situation, that I say learning must be fun. We had yesterday, we had today too, we had a lot of little situations where we were laughing. We were saying, oops, we had little jokes in between, and learning must be enjoyable. Mistakes are important, because otherwise I don't learn. And that's the big thing about balance, that balance is something I need to lose to gain. If I try to keep it, I've already lost it. Yeah? And I often have a picture if I wanted to balance a pencil on its tip. It's nearly an impossibility. So if I play with it between my fingers, this pencil balances for a fraction of a second before it falls into my fingers and I hold it again. So the balance works for a short moment. When I'm catching it early enough, this pencil does a lot of balancing work. When I allow the pencil to be nearly upright but lean on my finger, it looks like it's standing and balancing on its tip, but it is not doing any balancing work anymore. This pencil is leaning. And this is often the case with a horse too, and with a rider on top. If I want to balance, Felicitas was talking about all these lines, all these crosses in which the horse is balanced. If the horse is all the time leaning on the same rein, there is no balance work anymore. I need to change it from one side to the other. I need to play around with a balance. So this is a game. And it's a little bit like lose it, catch it. How fast do we catch it? If I catch the pencil early, I don't have hard work. If I let the pencil nearly fall, then I have harder time to get it back upright. So being quick enough is something in riding. That is often the problem. We're too slow. Like I said, when I feel it, it's history. I have to think futuristic. I have to be ahead of things happening. And of course, you need experience. You need time for it. If I'm not allowed to make a mistake, I will not learn how to correct it. And if we understand that balancing work is a continuous losing it, finding it, losing it, finding it from all directions, then loss of balance is not a big deal anymore because it happens all the time. And the game is how quick do I realize it, how quick can I do something about it, and how quick can I get out of that problem again. Problems will always occur. Yeah, that's facts of life. Shit happens. It's which tools do we have to shovel that shit and get out of it that makes our quality of life. And so in riding and in clinic situations and teaching and learning, mistakes have to be done. We have to find trial and error what works. And when I come and I see a new horse-rider combination and I propose to change something, it may work or it may not work. If I give someone a new picture for his seat, it may be a full hit, and it may be a picture that says nothing. These clinic lessons for me, I can't give my best riding lesson now, because I don't know horse and rider. Here I have the luck that I do know horse and rider, a little bit at least. But there is the situation of people watching, doing. There's a lot of stressful situations. I have, in this clinic situation, the situation that I'm here to teach the auditors. I have demo riders that get a lesson from me too, so I have to produce a lot of things, so I would be under stress. The rider wants to learn something, wants to show how much she can do, doesn't want to make a fool of herself, and there's a lot of things that already block a good learning situation. So that is why it's so important that I always make it dead clear to my demo riders, they can't do anything wrong today. Because if things go wrong, that's life. And that's what happens to every one of us. And we learn when we learn how to get out of it. So if we do a demo and everything goes perfect, nobody learns from it. And I know that those riding lessons where I had sweat and tears are those where I've learned a lot. They've been hugely important for me. And I had some riding lessons where I just had a great feeling and everything was wonderful, but I cannot tell you what I've learned in that lesson. Yeah? So sometimes the hard times are the important times. And I wanted to give that a little bit as a learning idea or input. Because if I want to learn, I have to get out of my comfort zone. If I stay inside my comfort zone, I'm not developing. And if I treat patients with back problems, sometimes the treatment first makes the pain worse. And then it gets better. Sometimes when you see a good rider getting on a horse to do a correction, it doesn't always look better in the first 5 minutes. Yeah? Sometimes they put the finger on the real problem and you see all the difficulties that have been covered up by not touching it. Sometimes it needs a moment until it gets better. And to put learning into a game of see how we get it. And I see harmony as a huge net. And in this net, it's like a spider web. Yeah? And harmony is the center of it. You can pull on a string on a spider web and the spider will feel it wherever she is. Yeah? So this means harmony is hugely easy to be influenced from all different sides. And I have to find out where can I pull, where do we get it better, how can we get it on a higher level, how is it connected. So it's always this, I pull here, you pull here, this, that, where can we go today? Yeah. My dad taught me when I get on a horse in the first round that he always says he's asking the horse with his seat bones how he wants to be ridden today. And there's something to it. And sometimes the horses say, I don't want to go in the arena today. Sometimes you have to persuade them to. Sometimes you can then answer back and say, okay, we'll do first around the paddock, and then we'll go in the arena. You need a bit more time today. Or we say, we'll make it short, and when you're good, we'll go out. Or you give a reward after. This playing with what's the needs, what can we achieve, and not just pressing the buttons, that's a partnership. We need partnership with our horses. Okay, so you had a little bit of time to warm up. Look at that, that's looking really good today already. So, okay, I think you can let him go into walk. By talking to all these auditors, I gave you some time for yourself, which is nice. And sometimes that's the time where we learn too, when the instructor is not looking. And I had the feeling you would like to have a little bit your own time and not just doing things straight away. And I've, of course, kept watching a little bit in the corner of my eye, and I'm very proud of what you've been doing. What were the big things from yesterday that you took?
I would say step number 1, breathing in rhythm.
Okay.
I hear in my head the accordion in my body.
Yeah.
Because when I get nervous, I breathe really quickly and shallow, but actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
So that idea of, and then my hands coming slightly open and closing.
Closing.
Doing that
Yes.
keeps everything a bit more relaxed.
Okay. So who of the auditors were here yesterday? Quite a few that they've seen here. Who hasn't been here yesterday? That's a few too. So what I did with her was really deepening the breath. That means we get better exchange of oxygen. If the oxygen doesn't come into our blood, if we have lack of oxygen, we know how muscles start burning. But before we lose strength in our muscle, we lose the deep coordination. And that means that all these automatic deep muscles in our spine that work not by strength, but like a domino system, one tells the other one how to support the spine, our core muscles that we always want to strengthen, that's the wrong picture. These core muscles are 1 centimeter long. They can't be very strong. They need to interact. The chain is strong when it works, when it communicates. We need good communication along our spine, not so much strength. Yeah? And so when we have no oxygen, this communication can't be fast, can't be good anymore. And then I lose all the stability. Yeah? So that's why the breathing is such a big thing. This opening and closing of the hands, this accordion that we did, has something to do too with the stability that you feel when you, and then it's not like, oh, I have to sit. No, I have to stay elastic. It lifts you here. Yeah? Felicitas talked about those cross lines, and if you buy a shelf at IKEA or something, if you don't have a cross in the back, it's not stable. So having always these connections, and that helped her to build up stability. The other thing it does, it helps you for balance. Sorry, you wanted to say something?
I was going to say the second biggest takeaway was this idea of, and I can't 100% remember that, because when you did it on me, it felt amazing, but bringing my shoulder
Down and back.
that made me carry my
Yes, that you had the hands to carry, yes. Yeah, so we found a better place for your hands because you have long arms, and it's always difficult with long arms where to place them and how to carry them. But by really connecting the shoulder blades, then it was much easier to bend the elbow and carry the hands. That was another big point. And in this, just think of the balance. If the base is wider, it's easier to balance. When I narrow it, it gets more difficult. And I sometimes say if I have a sumo fighter who's standing here, if now someone comes and pushes me, they won't push me over that easy because I have a wider base of balance. When I put my legs closer together and even on my toes, I get more wobbly. Then someone can come and just pick at me. Yeah? And it's totally clear to me that Felicitas said, please don't do any exercises with me. I can't disturb that horse now so much because he is on such a high level of balance that even just if you're in a pirate, just look to the wrong side, he'll struggle for balance because that's where he is. It's much more sensitive. I rode a horse, not just from the statue, he was a bit wider, but I rode him on a more sumo balance, which doesn't mean he's not balanced, yeah? But then I can show a few more